YouTube? It's your girl AK, and we are back with a market analysis video. I'm gonna show y'all 3 different pairs that I'm watching very closely, right, for an analysis for next week. So yeah, without further ado, let's just jump right into it. All right, boom. We are looking at GJ. I am super excited for GJ, y'all. So I'm gonna show y'all just the overall breakdown of like how the pair is moving, and then I'm gonna show y'all like what I'm looking for the week itself. So okay, cool. So we're looking at GJ, right? This is GJ on the weekly time frame. As you can see, GJ is very bullish instrument, very bullish, right? We are at a point where we are showing a little bit of exhaustion on the weekly. Notice how last week, instead of closing strongly above this high, we actually showed this rejection, kind of like this. Looks like we're kind of setting up for a a bearish candle right here. Notice how we had the bullish push, right, and then we kind of had this bearish, not really a doji, but it is kind of showing slight indecision, like a change of direction. So I do expect to see some sort of bearish candle print next week. So I am interested in sales next week, right? Daily time frame, you kind of can see it a little closer, right? We were following this uptrend last week. We actually caught this short buy up here before it fell. But notice we were making an uptrend, so we were going, daily was making higher highs, higher lows, higher highs. But I understood that we were approaching this level of sellers. So if I throw my drawings back on, I marked up this area right here, right? This area, this was the last place price broke structure, and it had a very strong sell. There's very strong sellers sitting at this level. So I knew when price got to this level, strong sellers could, kick back in. We were actually trading this up to this level last week. If you follow my Telegram, you would have got my notification for that. But on the 4-hour time frame, or really the 1 hour, you can really see it clearly. Well, first, the daily time frame, we were making what? Higher highs, higher lows, higher highs. Like, we had a slight pullback, and we caught this wick up in here. So we closed up in here. I'm gonna show y'all on the lower time frame. This is what we took last week. Like a pretty cool, like about a 1 to 2, nothing crazy. If you really scaled in on the 15-minute, you would have got a better entry for sure, better restore ratio. But I didn't want to hold too long because I understood that, hey, like, y'all, these sellers are very strong. And as you can see, them sellers definitely kicked in. So them sellers actually end up breaking structure. So notice on the daily, right, this was a swing low because we made a high. Price actually came in close below. So my daily time frame is actually bearish, y'all. So the daily is bearish right now, right? Okay, so the daily is bearish. My 4-hour is also bearish. Notice on the 4-hour, at one point, we were making structure. So we were making, let me see, this is the low. So we were making higher highs, higher lows, right? Making structure. And then at some point, we end up breaking structure here. We end up breaking back above for a short period of time until we, broke back below. So 4-hour time frame is bearish as well. I have 2 consecutive time frames, the daily and the 4-hour, saying bearish. So I'm looking for sales this week, right? Kind of what I'm looking for, and I already drew it out, but I'll draw it again, right? I'm looking for price to basically give me a retracement back up, right? We already broke this daily support. I can delete this now. But I'm looking for price to give me some kind of discount. I'm sorry. I'm looking for price to give me some kind of retracement because we can't sell in this range, right? We need to wait for price to go back to premium levels. What do I mean by that? Well, first and foremost, y'all know that I am a break and retest trader. So the last area price broke from was around this zone, right? So I'm actually looking for price to, this is my 4-hour area interest. I'm looking for price to basically come back into this zone, which will be more premium prices. You can see that if you draw your fib from the swing high to the swing low. Notice how this area lines up really nicely with this golden zone, right? It brings you to the 50 and 61. If you don't know what the golden zone is, right, and you don't trade Fibonacci, I have a video on Fibonacci that you can watch. It's on my channel. I highly recommend you check it out, right? But I love how this broken structure lines up with this golden zone. So essentially, we're looking for price to come back into this area, right? When price does retrace back to this area, I'm going to want to scale down to a lower time frame, right? Like around the 1 hour, or like the 30-minute, and basically I want to see price do this. So price during this pullback, you're gonna see a 30-minute shift structure. You're gonna see a 30-minute shift into a bullish uptrend, making higher highs, higher lows, higher highs, higher lows, right? However, once we get to this area, we get to this pullback, at some point structure is gonna start slowing down, and we're gonna start seeing a shift of structure back to bearish to the downside. That is gonna be my entry confirmation. Whenever I see price shift from going bullish too bearish on the lower time frame, that's gonna be my entry confirmation. So I'm gonna look to basically enter off of this shift. It's gonna be a short position somewhere here, right? We're gonna figure this part out later. But essentially my target is going to be liquidity. So there's daily liquidity down here, that's my 0, right? And then my second target is gonna be this 27 extension, right? And then I also have a third target, right? I'm also gonna be targeting this psychological level. I'm going to explain why in a second I'm targeting psychological level. But if price does get all the way down here, then we can probably get a nice restore ratio on this particular sell. So I'm going to explain for a second why I am targeting these lows. And it's really the higher time frame which is giving me that direction. So let me explain why. So for a second, let me just delete these drawings for a second, right? And I just kind of want to show y'all what I see. So if you go to the weekly time frame on GJ, notice something, right? What was the last place price broke structure on the high time frame before shooting up? Around this level, right? This was the last point. We broke this level right here, right? This level kind of lines up with what? The psychological level. So I wouldn't be surprised if price was just coming back for some kind of like retest off this level, right? Before looking to, you know, continue this because we're kind of in a range right now, right? But I wouldn't be surprised if price came back to retest this level. So I'm actually looking for the weekly retest as my TP, if that makes sense. So yeah, this zone or this area is going to be my third TP. And the reason I call it a zone is because price does not have to get exactly to this psychological level, which is, you know, 2-1-12-500. This is an area, right? As long as price gets near this area, to me, that's my TP is hit, right? It does not have to exactly hit this number. Now, if price decides to basically pull back, but instead it, you know, it takes out the high, then obviously I'm not looking for sales anymore, right? We just broke the high, right? I'm looking for price to stay here, you know, show me, you know, it doesn't want to go any higher, right? Kind of struggle, and then eventually look to sell back to the downside. That's what I'm looking for. So pretty straightforward, pretty solid, right? Let's move on. Okay, so the next thing I'm looking at is GA. So last week I was actually looking to potentially sell GA, but we were actually caught like in this this range for a minute. So I kind of scratched my idea of like looking for sales, and I saw that we were actually making bullish structure inside the box. So we finally broke out of this consolidation box with a really nice strong bullish, you know, engulfing candle. So now I'm kind of looking to see if price wants to give a retracement on a 4-hour, right? Some kind of 4-hour retracement back to this zone, right? And then the continuation up. Now I'm only really looking to really buy it back up to just this psychological level, and here's why. Weekly time frame, if you look on the weekly, overall GA is bearish, right? GA weekly time frame, we're making lower lows, lower highs, lower lows, lower highs. We're actually inside of this this fib right now, right? This is A, this is B, C is going to be this retracement into this golden zone. So I do expect price to get somewhere near this golden zone. Notice how our psychological level, right? Psychological level 1.9, I don't know, 9,000, I don't know. Notice how price is like in the middle of this cycle level. So it lines up very, very well. This is also where broken structure is, right? If you actually mark this out, right here, we do have like some broken structure here. So price is coming back to, you know, reset the structure. There's also the cycle level here, and there's also the golden zone. So this level is there's a very high chance that price can reverse in this area. Very, very, very high chance, right? So I'm going to be cautious when holding this buy. In fact, I only see this really as short term. But because the daily has broken bullish, like we've broken this daily high, so the daily is bullish, right? And this 4 hours also bullish. Because I have 2 consecutive time frames, I'm looking for buys, right? So GA, we are going to be waiting for this retracement as well to this level. I'm going to set some alerts and then scale down to a lower time frame. Same exact thing, right? 30-minute time frame. I'll show it again. Either 30-minute or the hour, right? We're going to look for a pullback and then the shift back to being bullish, right? And then that's going to be the continuation of after that. So yeah, same look on GA. Pretty straightforward trade. You know, if you want to draw the fib, you can, from the swing low to the swing high, right? And you can also, you know, mark out that area as well. But yeah, this is what I'm looking for when it comes to GA. Okay, and last and certainly not least, I'm looking at the SPX 500. Y'all, I have not looked at the SPX in a while, all right? But I'm very excited, and the reason I'm very excited is because I have not seen a weekly pullback on this indice in a minute, and it looks like we're finally getting that weekly pullback. Let me explain. So right here, right, if we jump to the daily time frame, notice how we've broken daily support, right? So daily time frame, at one point we were making, you know, like higher highs, the higher lows, higher highs, and we had a very strong, not no small like wick, no, a very strong bearish engulfing candle that broke this daily support right here, right? So as you can see, daily is bearish, 4 hour also bearish, right? So, you know, we're looking for sales right now. However, I'm kind of looking at the bigger picture when it comes to SPX, right? I'm looking at the weekly time frame, right? Check out this weekly time frame for a second. Weekly time frame in general, just look at SPX. SPX is a very, very, very bullish instrument. Very, very, very bullish instrument, right? So from a swing trader perspective, or not even that, really from a position trader perspective, if you're looking at being more of like a position trader, we could probably find a really good position trade off this move, like in the next coming weeks. So right here, I marked up the last area. You know, price broke structure on the weekly, right? We broke this weekly area interest. I would not be surprised if price is just coming back for a quick, like, you know, retest around this area and then look to continue up, right? And if you want to be even more clear about the direction, right, you can even draw a fib on the weekly, and this is so cool how it lines up. You start from the swing low, swing high, right? So check this out. This is actually really cool. So right here we have A, B, C is gonna be this retracement down. Notice how this like 50% line, right? I'm gonna zoom in so y'all can see it. It lines up really well with our weekly area interest. And not only does it line up well with the weekly area interest, it also lines up really well with the psychological level. So there's like 3 confluences right now telling me that, hey, like if price gets down to this area, like we can see a big chance of like a reversal happening. So I'm looking to see if price can get down to these levels. And if it can, I'm looking to play some kind of position trade on this. Short term, you know, short term, I am going to look to sell it down, of course. But long term, I'm looking for the big buy, right? And as far as my targets, I'm looking at this, like for the position trade, right? I'm looking at this 8,000 level. Right here, notice how this psychological level, 8,000, notice how it lines up really well with the 27 extension, right? It lines up very, very well. So I'm looking to see if we can basically, you know, get the pullback and then hold it up, see if we can ride it out to 8,000. I talked a little bit about this on my Telegram, not too deep in detail, but I do want to really, you know, look for this position trade, because I feel like, as you see, right, once you catch a nice retracement on the weekly, what happens, right? You have a nice retracement on the weekly and then it flies and it doesn't ever come back, right? This is something where you can actually find a really good move and probably hold it for a really good long time. So I'm very excited for this pullback. You know, people always say it all the time. They say, you know, when you have these big pullbacks, a lot of people become rich off of these moves, and they do. Because after like a big pullback like that, it just flies, right? You get your big pullback and it flies. So another reason why I feel like this pullback is coming very, very soon, if you check this out, right, if you look at this level, this last fib, right, swing low, swing high. If you understand Fibonacci, right, go watch my Fibonacci video. Okay, swing low, swing high, slight retracement. Look where we're at right now, y'all. Look where we're at right now. I'm gonna delete this so y'all can pay attention. Okay, we are currently at the 27 extension. What happens at the 27 extension? 9 times out of 10, when you get to the 27 extension, you start seeing a retracement. The market starts to retrace, you know, for the next big rally. I think that's what's happening right now. I think we got to our 27 on the weekly and we're looking for that next rally. So yes, I am very excited, and I do think we are going to get you know, a nice retracement off of this, or I would hope so, and look to, you know, hold up to the level 8,000. So yeah, I think if we can really scale in on a nice like lower time frame, like the 4 hour, right, weekly pullback, and then a 4 hour entry off of this level, y'all that's gonna be nuts. So yeah, I'm super excited for this week. A lot of great moves are coming. I haven't felt excited about the market in a minute because last month the market was kind of trash. I'm not gonna lie, like I wasn't really posting much because I just did not like the market. Way better price action coming this month. Super excited. You know, brand new month is June. It is 6 months into the year. How are y'all feeling? How are y'all doing? I hope y'all are doing amazing in y'all trading journey. I'm super excited for the end of the year. I know it's gonna be great. I'm also planning on doing a live stream sometime next week, this week, probably either Monday or Tuesday. I want to do it early and knock it out because I got a trip to San Francisco like later later at the end of the week. So yeah, I gotta just get that knocked out. But yeah, y'all stay tuned for the live stream. I'm just gonna basically go over the setups, go over my ideas, and yeah, I did some other live streams. If y'all missed them, this is your chance to catch one. But yeah, I hope y'all enjoyed this video. Let me know if you have any questions down below. Telegram is down below, and until next time, let's get it. Bye.